Hello everyone and welcome to AGCAD's webinar Frame Complex Floors with Connections Automatically. Before I start, I want to make sure that everyone can hear me and can see my screen. So please raise your hands. You can do that in the GoToWebinar dialog on the right side of your monitor. Thank you for raising your hands, as I understand you can hear me and can see my screen. If you have any questions, you can write them down in the GoToWebinar dialog under Questions, and in the end of the webinar, I will try to answer them. And now I can introduce myself. My name is Eve, and I am an architect and a BIM consultant at AGCAD. Our mission is building BIM together, which means that we align our clients' needs and develop solutions for continuous BIM acceleration. Our promise to clients is reducing BIM stress. We help to eliminate tasks that do not create value. In this webinar, you learn how to auto-generate multi-layer floor framing using custom rules and templates, also control supporting structure, including battens and flooring, automate sheeting layouts, find structural and engineering clashes, cut and frame openings according to predefined rules, distribute joint connections, and other details. Also easily prepare shop drawings and cut lists with all required views where elements are dimensioned, sorted, tagged, scheduled, and also their mass is calculated. And also we'll see how these frames are exported to CNC machines. So okay, let's just jump right into the live demonstration. I already have a Revit project open right here, and I also put a couple of pictures right here just to show you what are we gonna see during this webinar, because you're gonna see how I'm framing floors from real life situation where frames get a little more complex than usual. So for example, right here we can see two examples that we merged into one Revit model. So for example, right here, as you can see, we have double the amount of joists in this side of the floor than this side of the floor. Also, they are overlapping each other. Also, we can see that the opening framing is not symmetrical, and these trimmer joists are going right up to these supporting edge joists, rim joists. And also we see these additional support elements. And another situation is this bathroom floor, where you can see that the joists are less in thickness than all other floor than in other the surrounding floor. And also you see these metal elements that are splitting and cutting these joists, so that will be interesting. That's quite complex, and I've modeled my frame already. You can see it in this 3D model that I have this bathroom, this basement floor. I also have this bathroom where my floor will be less in thickness. I will also add the joists right here where they will overlap each other above this wall in the basement. And also we can see a simple opening right here that we will frame and then modify. So, of course, we have to make our model in Revit correct before using the framing tools. And when we do that, we can configure everything for our framing. And before using the tools, of course, I highly recommend to visit the eHelp page. You'll find lots of useful information right there, like technical documentation where a lot of features are described in detail, also webinar records and sample projects. You can download those and try them out by yourself. So right here, I will just show you a quick overview about the functionality. So before using the tools, of course, you have to load families and schedules, and you have all the structural framing elements and schedules loaded that will be used for framing this floor. And then in the floor link, I will select this floor and check the wall link. We'll see the actual floor structure modeled in Revit model. So I have two layers in this floor. Also, I can see the thickness, and then I can map framing layer types right here. So I'm saying that in this wall layer modeled in Revit, I'm adding the mainframe. Right here, I'm adding the sheeting, and now I can map specific configurations. So these are specific specific custom rules that you can create by yourself and use it. So I'm using this configuration for my mainframe and another configuration for the sheeting. Yeah, now when these configurations are mapped, I can just very quickly take a look at the configuration window. And right here I can create different types of configurations for the mainframe, flooring, for the battens, and as I mentioned, specific configurations by your own company standards. So you can configure all of these settings that you can see right here in this window and save it by your own name and use it in your future projects. You can even put it on a shared location so all of your colleagues would have an access to it. So now a quick overview about all of these settings. So right here we can enter elements, mark definitions. All these values will be written into the families and on their tags. You can rename everything right here by your own standards. Right here in the floor framing, we can predefine the main type of common joist that will be used for our floor framing. So as you can see, I'm using an I joist and also define the spacing. And for the rim joist, I'm using a different type of an element, and we will see that when I'm done with the framing. Also, the number of elements can be predefined right here, and the same goes for the rim joist number 1. And offsets around the wall. Also, we can create configurations for opening framing. For non-structural and structural floors, they can be different, as well as for different size of openings. And these configurations are very similar. Again, they can be saved by your own name and used in the future. And right here, I'm just choosing an element type for the king joist, also number of them, also element types for the headers, and you can choose the configuration right here, or you can just create your own configuration for these elements. So as you can see, these are very flexible. And the same goes for another header, and again the trimmer. We can set the inner, outer type. Also we can set the position, so whether it goes from the sill plate to the header or from the sill to the top plate and so on. Also trimmer, stop cripples, bottom cripples, offsets around the openings. We can also configure end connections, so choose between these types, or again we can create our own. So the possibilities are very broad right here. Also we can add edge joist, bridging, nogging, and blocking we can also add, and all other elements. But actually this configuration will be quite simple before I will start to modify it. So when we create this configuration, we map it in the floor link as I showed you, and then we can start framing. So I will select it and I will hit frame floor, and now Wood Framing Floor Plus is distributing all those structural framing elements by those rules in the framing configuration. So we'll see the I joists and the rim joists. Okay, I'll go to another 3D view without the exterior wall so we could see better. Yeah, so you can see that my structural framing elements for the rim joists are added. Also I joist elements are added. The opening is framed, and right here you can see the bathroom walls, and I will modify this situation right here. And yeah, now we can start to modify the floor. Of course, if you don't need to modify it, you can leave it as this. This webinar is about complex situations. So now, as you saw, I want these joists right here to be split above this wall in the basement. Also, I want them to be put side by side and not like this continuous joist and overlap each other. So for that, I will add an additional element between these I joists. And also, I don't want an actual element to be added right here. So that's why I have invisible elements for these kind of situations. And I can add it by a selected line-based element. So I want to add it above this wall right here. I also want to add to the center. I want to add one element, and I want to split my joists by this element. And I think everything else is correct right here. So now you'll see invisible element added above this wall in the basement level that will split my joists. Yeah, you can see that now I have two joists right here instead of one, and this is the invisible element that was added. So now I want to double the amount of studs of joists right here in this side of my floor. So I will add additional support joist between this invisible element and this rim joist. So yeah, I will add this eye joists. I will just change the thickness, and I will add them. Or no, actually, everything's okay. I will add them by this spacing. I want to add 7 additional elements, yeah, to the center, and everything else I think is correct right here. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I want to double the amount of eye joists. Yeah, and they're added. So again, I want to add another one right here next to this joist. So I want to show another option how we can do that. We can add it with the additional element again, but also, yeah, here is my Revit model. Also, I can copy and edit it using standard Revit functionality. So I will copy this element right here. Yes, I will also trim it using standard Revit functionality again. Yes, so now it's correct, and it's just that later I have to remember to pin this element so that it would not be moved during any updates. Okay, now I want these elements to be put side by side and then overlap. So I will use functionality from cut, delete, move, rotate elements. I will select these eye joists because I want to move them. Yes, I want to move them by 45. Yes, and now they're moved, and what else I want to do is I want them to overlap. So I will use this trim functionality and select all of them. Yeah, and I will do the same in the side of my floor. Yes, so now they are overlapping, and it's just that I don't have to forget, as I mentioned, to pin them. So now I'll select this element that I modified using Revit and pin them. So now I'm sure that they will not be moved during updates. And I've just created this situation with overlapping joists, and also I can modify the opening right now. So I will open this view of my first floor, and I will do that using Revit. So I will connect. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I will select the center, and I will extend these elements, and also this element right here. Okay, and this element right here. Okay, and again, I will pin them because I modified them using standard Revit functionality, and as you can see, I just modified that opening according to that real-life situation that I showed you. So now let's move on to the fun part, to this complex situation right here, and I will go to my first level just to remind you what I will create right here. So I will create smaller eye joists in their depth right here in the bathroom. Also, I will add these metal elements that will split my joists. Okay, so I will go back to the 3D view, and for that, first of all, I will add additional joists right here to near this element. Okay, add additional joist. Select this element. Yeah, we'll add this eye joist to the left of my selected element. Also, the distance I want to add near it, and I want to add only one element right here. And yeah, I think everything else is correct, so it will be added right here. You'll see it in a second. Yeah, I have my additional element, and also I want to add it near this element as well. Yeah, to the left. Everything else is okay. And I'll have another additional element right here. Okay, and now I can add those metal beams. So I will use add additional bridging, knogging, and blocking. Select this element and this joist also, and I will choose metal element family. Yeah, this one. I will not define the depth by layer thickness. I want it to be different, and I will also select a line-based element. So this wall from the basement will act as a support for my metal beam. I will also split the studs using this metal beam. Yeah, I will add it to the center of my floor. Okay. Yeah, and we'll see that metal beam will be added right here. And it will also split my joist. Yeah, you can see I just added this metal element, and it is splitting the eye joists. Okay, and again I will do the same right here. So I will add additional bridging, knogging, and blocking. I will select this element and this element. Again, this metal beam will be added. I will split the studs with this element, and I will again select the line-based element. So now this wall from the basement level will act as a support element for my metal beam. Okay, and that beam will be added right here. Okay, and again, as you can see, it's added and it's splitting my eye joists. And now I don't want to forget, so I will go to my first floor, and using Revit again, I will just make these beams to extend to the centers of the walls in Revit in my basement level. Yeah, and I modify them using standard Revit functionality, so I have to pin them. Okay, again, 3D view. Okay, so what's next? Now, when these joists are split, I can select them, and I want to make them smaller in thickness. Their thickness has to be smaller than all other joists right here in this area where the bathroom is located. So now I selected all of them, and I will change their type like this, and I will pin them. So now you can see that right here where I have my bathroom, these joists are smaller in thickness, and now these levels are different. Yeah, these joists do not meet in one level, so of course right here in this location where the bathroom is, it's okay, but right here I will need to make them even, to even out these altitudes on these levels right here and right here. So first of all, what I will need to do is I'll need to add some additional elements below these bathroom walls. So I will add additional bridging, knogging, and blocking. Select these elements. Yeah, I will add these blocking stud joists. These elements, I will cut the additional element, this element that I'm adding. Also, I will select the line-based element. So first of all, I will add them below this wall right here. Yes, I will also add a small offset so that they would be added to the center, and also an offset. Yeah, I don't need to change anything right here, but I will change the spacing. I want them to be near to each other, and I will also add them to the external side of my floor, and I will add 2 elements. So everything else is correct, I think. Yeah, now we'll see 2 additional elements added below this bathroom floor, and when they will be added, we will start to even out the altitudes, yeah, and these additional elements, I can see that they're added, and now I can repeat this process again right here between these two elements. Yes, cut the additional element. I will select the line-based element, so this wall. This time, again, two elements, an offset, okay, and now, like in this situation, these two elements will be added below this wall. Yeah, and it's correct. Now you can see that they're added right here. And as I mentioned, I want these levels to be the same. Yeah, so now I will add some additional support right here and right there. So I will use add additional support joist from this element to this additional element that I just added. I will use again that blocking stud element. Yeah, I want it to be smaller in depth. Also, I will cut it. The distance and spacing, for that I will select the line-based element from this one. And I will add 6 elements right here. And the frame side should be external. Okay. So now we'll see how these floor levels will be evened out. And we'll have to do the same again to the other side. Yeah, and you can see that these elements were just added, so now the level of these are the same. Yeah, so it's starting to come together. And also I'm missing one element right here, so I'll again add additional support joist from these elements. So this time I will select this line-based element. Yeah, one element will be added. Okay, and I will just add another additional element right here because I'm missing one right now. Okay, it's added. And now I will repeat the same process right here in this side. So again, I will add additional support joist from here to this metal beam. Yes, this element, okay, I will cut it. The spacing, I will select the line-based element, this one. Yeah, I will again add 6 elements to the external face of my floor, and we'll see how additional support joist will even out the altitude of the floor in this situation right here. Yeah, they're added. So now we have the same level than previously. And I'm missing one element right here again, so I will add additional support right here again. Select line-based element. Yeah, one element to the external side, okay. And I'm almost done creating the frame of my floor. So now I will just add a couple of additional elements and move on to the sheeting and details. Okay, so as you can see, that is how we can frame these complex situations. So now what I'm still missing is some additional support elements right here in the edges of my floor. So I just very quickly want to show you that, of course, we can add them like so. So for them, I will add, let's say, rim joists. These ones, I will define the depth by layer thickness, cut the additional element, yes. The offset, I will modify the offset like this. I will add it to the center of my floor, and let's say I will add 4 elements right here. Yes, everything else is correct, I think. Okay, so you can see that if we need a stronger structure right here, we can add these additional elements. So for example, I can also add it right here. Yeah, add additional bridging, nogging, and blocking. Yeah, sorry. Right here, and maybe I'm just okay with one element right here. So in all of these situations that you need the floor structure to be stronger, you can just go ahead and add these additional elements. I will not add it right now to all of the situation because I want to save our time. Yeah, now it's added, and let's say I will add it to one more situation. For example, here, I think I need these additional elements, and I'll add maybe 5 of those right here. Yeah, and I think that that would be all, and now we will be able to now we can split the sheeting for our floor. Again, I added these elements. So again, we can add everywhere where we need them. And now I will split the sheeting and paneling part. So again, you can create a sheeting configuration by your own rules, by your own specific rules, and use it in your future projects. And right now the sheeting is split, but I cannot see it yet because I need to turn on parts visibility. So I will turn on this final view for our floors, and you can see that the sheeting was split for this wall, and I also added that opening element so that I could add a different floor for my bathroom because I want to add tiles right here. And also we can create different configuration for the tiles with our tools. So I will show you how the bathroom tiles even are created with small gaps between them. So I think that it's pretty neat that we can create even floor tiles with our framing tools. Yeah, and we're done creating the frame for this floor. So now I can start adding the details. So I will go back to the 3D view, and as you can see, I have all these different framing elements right here, and of course I will need different details in connections right here, also for these rim joists and also for these eye joists. The details will have to be different, so I'll have to use different configurations, and so that I would not need to select them one by one and use different configuration, we added such possibility that yeah, sorry, I will find the smart details. Yeah, I will add it using smart details, so we can add those details automatically to different element types, because in these element types, yeah, I have configurations for the details where we can predefine everything that we will add. So you can see that these green rules I'm using. So this tool is a very powerful tool that adds details to and searches elements in various directions, adding these eye joists that you will see in the T connections and butt connections and all kinds of situations. So these configurations again can be saved and used in the future, but also I can copy like so. I can just take this configuration, yeah, I can copy the name of this configuration and I can write it into the element types. So if I would select this element type and edit it, I can see that this smart detail configuration was written into this element type, and for this element I'm using maybe a completely different configuration. So now I can just very easily select all frame elements in my floor and insert details automatically by different configurations, but I will deselect these elements from my floor because I will need to add even different configuration, even different details by a different configuration to this situation. So I'm deselecting these, yeah, and to all other elements I can use auto insert. So now it's collecting all the data from my model, is searching for those connections, and it's adding details to 2 groups of elements, and a couple of hundred details will be added. Smart Details is a very, very powerful tool that can instantly add any number of face-specific intelligent details that adapt to host element changes throughout BIM models. So you can easily set up rules to insert or adjust details based on gravity points, depth, and more. Structural engineers save many hours per project because they can insert details on any face of host element by customizable insertion rules. Use parameters of host elements to make your details smart and adapted to host length, thickness, height, etc. And yeah, I can see that the details are already added, so I added all of these wooden and metal details automatically, as you can see. So that's pretty impressive. That's really a powerful tool, and it can add details not only to my wood framing situations, but also to concrete projects and many other situations. So yeah, you can see that I added these details, so they are added differently according to different connections. So for example, here I have this lumber connection element, but I don't have it right here yet, yeah, because I need it to be added quite differently, and right here. So now I will select also these elements because I want to add the details separately on these. Yes, so and we're almost done. Yeah, I selected these, and I will use insert details right now, and I will select this configuration without the lumber elements. Yeah, because I don't want these lumber elements to be added on these elements, as they are less in thickness than these, so that then they will not be added correctly. I will add instead these lumber elements on my additional support elements right here. Okay, yeah, I can see that they are added right here, and what I'm missing again are those lumber connection elements. So I will select these details separately right now, use insert details, and just select a different configuration for these lumber details, and now they will be added. Yes, so we just created this complex frame with wooden and metal details for our floors automatically. We can go ahead and check the final view again. Yeah, all of this is created, and now I can export this frame to CNC machines. For that, actually, I had to sort structural framing by floor mark previously using Smart Details. I'm sorry I forgot, but yeah, have in mind that we have to sort structural framing elements before adding the details, because those details see the values in the structural framing elements. But no big deal right now. Oh, yeah, I just sorted them, and now I can export these frames to the CNC machines. Actually, I created another floor for that because I want to show you how elements with cuts for the depths are exported, but these are quite similar. You can see that I have these wooden details, also metal details, and now I can export this frame to the CNC machines. We have the CNC exporters. So in this example, I will show you how we can export to the Hundegger, but also we can do that on Weinmann and Randig and other machines. So we just have these export settings where we can we have simple setup and advanced setup, where we can set specific rules how these elements should be exported, how many layers should be exported, and so on. And now I've already set all of that up, so now I can just use export selected floor frames to the CNC machine. And also I have another floor, not with iJoist but with simple joist, so I can both of these floors I can export to the CNC machines, and also I will have a file. And right here we can overview information about every element. So when I select a certain element, I see all information about its size and so on. Also, we see this marking right here. We see the openings are cut. Yeah, information for all elements is right here. Yeah, so this is the structural framing elements. These are structural framing elements exported. And also wooden details are exported as well. Yeah, and we can see our wooden details. Yeah, this is the cut for our metal beam, a cut in the other side, and so on, and the lumber detail that was added later. And also I can create shop drawings of these floors. So again, in the shop drawing configuration, I can predefine what views do I want to create, also what schedules do I want to create, and they will be calculated and dimensioned automatically. So I created shop drawings for this floor as well as for the floor that I just demonstrated. You can see that I have a 3D view, I can have a 3D view of my floor, and I can also have schedules of these elements where even the element mass is calculated. And I also have a 3D view of my other floor assembly that I just showed you, that I just framed and added the details to. Yeah, and I also have detail views. So I have these sections made automatically with all elements dimensioned. Also, I have a top view and another section view with the ducts and elements tagged and dimensioned automatically. And I have this plan view from below. So I'm seeing this floor from below right now, and you can see that right here are my MEP duct elements. Also, all these elements are tagged and dimensioned. Yeah, and for the other assembly. And now we can put these views to the sheets. All of AGCAD developed Autodesk Revit add-ons and BIM solutions are accessible through Tools for BIM Doc Dashboard, a new separate interactive window in Revit. So you'll just download the doc, you'll choose the correct version for your Revit. I say a big thank you that you attended this webinar. I hope it was interesting and beneficial for you. And if you have any questions, go ahead, write them down under questions and I will answer them. And if you will think of any questions later, just go ahead, write us an email.